Why is it not good and right to get upset with God? In the previous videos, we were looking at the reasons for which it is not right to get upset with God. There are many other reasons, however, and we won't have enough time to mention all of them, even if in man's eyes there are opposite reasons for which they can get upset and turn against God. This is not right, as people do that without actually knowing and understanding the truth. We all can be upset sometimes and feel pain, but we need to turn to God with our pain instead of turning away from Him. The enemy, the devil, wants us to be against God and to be blinded to His truth. It is only us losing in this way. One of the main reasons for which people don't like the light of God and to oppose themselves to it is that they don't understand the reason for which there will be judgment one day. God is not pleased when someone gets lost. He doesn't want to send people to hell. That's why He sent His Son to die. He wants to be on our side, but sadly, some people will get lost and will go there as they will reject His gift. Then He will cry for them, as He will not be definitely pleased with that. While dying on the cross, Jesus exclaimed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." We can see the desire of His heart and intention here. The relation or the reaction God is having with sin is to take it completely away from the picture, as He cannot stand it. There is nothing impure in Him, and nothing impure can stand in His sight. It is the same as when we pass by some place with a heavy rotten smell and we cannot stand it. We automatically turn our head away. It is a reaction that takes place. Same is God with the sin. He cannot stand it by nature, not because He just decided so, even if in the same time we can say that He decided it, but with a decision entirely based on His nature, which is justice and order. And He is doing all of this with a good purpose, because His purpose is always perfect and always good, because He is God. There are things that He cannot go against to. Maybe for a while He is withholding His justice and judgment now, and it looks like He is going against His principles, but this is just for a time, and it came with a price, as He had to sacrifice His only Son for this to be possible, so that He can withhold His justice and to give opportunity to sinners to repent, because His judgment was poured on the Son on the cross. He who is the most and only innocent died. Something unjust happened to Him without deserving it. That's why the Father had to turn His head away while watching the Son dying on the cross. We know this by what Jesus cried out while on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me?" Because what happened there wasn't just, but He did all of this for us. All of this should prevent people from thinking why is it God judges people or why certain things happen in the world. See, it is difficult to understand now, but not everything needs to be seen in a negative way. The enemy wants us to see it in such a way so that we can rebel against God. We need to know that we cannot fight and set ourselves against God, as here we are not just speaking about a person, but the creator of everything, and we live and move in Him. We are meant to be together with Him, and it's only us losing when we resist to Him. He will continue to be sovereign and holy and God. He doesn't lose out of that, but yes, He will look at us with sadness because of our pain and the decision we took. This is a real love that doesn't look for its own interest. This is the love God is having. Most of us as people get sad or displeased coming out of some relationship, mostly because we lost out of it. It is not maybe because we see the other person hurting. We can say that God instead is sad and displeased only because of us, because He sees us hurting by not being with Him. This is a real love. Even though people refuse Him and take the wrong path, He always continues to be complete and to be God, with His justice completely satisfied. All of this shows that He is doing this for us. He is doing everything possible, but He cannot break His principles and ways. He kind of did it by sending His innocent Son to die for us. In this way, He took the pain, So it is not because of him that he does that, but because of us, and at the same time we cannot think of hurting him purposely by taking the wrong path. It will be only us losing by this. Proverbs chapter 8 verses 35 and 36 say, "For whoever finds me finds life, and obtains favor from the Lord. But he who sins against me wrongs his own soul. All those who hate me love death." His purpose for our life is for good, but it will never go past his principles. So, he does all of this in our favor, but never trespassing his principles and order. Why? Because this is the best way. His way is the best. All other ways can look promising for a while, but will never lead to a good ending. One of the reasons of why people get upset with God is also that they don't accept His ways. But what actually happens is that they don't know them. They don't accept His ways because they don't trust Him. People fail to trust God. That's the problem. They don't realize and don't know that those are the best ways for them. What is good is that we, being His creation, are most complete and satisfied when we're with Him, when we please Him. His principles, therefore, are good for us. They're the best. That's why in the book of Ezekiel, where he says that he will gather his people from all the nations and give them a new heart, he says also that he is doing this for his name's sake. To me, it means that he is faithful to his ways and they are law to him. They are created by him, but he is in a way submitted to them. As we are created by him, whatever comes from him is automatically good for our life. Here enters his judgment as well. Many people are asking, why is it God is going to judge people one day? And are getting upset with him for that. Yes, we can have questions sometimes, and it's good, but we also need to have an understanding and not to retain to our own opinion. We can feel in this way, we can have doubts and questions sometimes, but we mustn't remain there. Firstly, we need to know that He is God and is above all. This is also an answer that should be enough. The other reason as well is that the judgment is having to do with His nature, as we said before, and it cannot be avoided. It is inevitable. Even if He wants to, He can't just prevent it. By sending His Son, He expressed His desire to help us and to change the things for us. If He could have avoided the final judgment, He was going to do it. But by the way in which He did it, by sending His Son, shows that there wasn't another way for us to escape judgment and to avoid it. Because if there was another way, or if He could have just decided to change this principle and way He is having of judging sin and sinners, why then He was going to sacrifice what is most precious for Him, His Son? All of this shows that this was the only way, and it shows that He wants to do something for us, that He cares for us, and wants to give us a solution. That's why instead of getting upset with Him for the judgment, instead of questioning Him or trying to neglect it, we have to be grateful and appreciate the sacrifice He did for us, and be willing to know more about it. These things, even if there are many other reasons that we didn't mention here, should make us reflect when we get upset with God sometimes. There is just no reason for us to do it. The only thing we do by that is to harm ourselves, as we are part of God, and we are meant to be with Him for eternity. He is giving us this opportunity. By rebelling and separating ourselves from Him, we decide to carry on to live the rest of the eternity in the same way, being far from Him. Obviously, sometimes the thoughts of getting upset and rebelling to Him come in us, and we cannot control them. But that's why we need the new heart and nature He wants to give us. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you will keep my judgments and do them. Ezekiel 36 verse 26. Only in this way we will understand in a more clear way about His majesty and some of the reasons and the purposes with which He performs His will. He knows our hearts anyway, and we need to feel free to open up to Him and to go before Him with our problems, reflections, and complaints, to express what we are, what we think, and how do we feel, but in a humble way. We need to go to Him in a sincere way, as we are, not being proud by holding on to our state and condition, but ready to change all of this with His help.